Okay, I'd like to call public utilities to order for November 10th. Please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brad's the only one on the.
Right now, yeah. Both parties would take it.
Who?
Already.
Brian?
Already.
Oh, Marty. Okay, we have no public input. Correspondence. We have the letter from 44 Stony Hill Road, the unauthorized sewer hookup, and I'll have Tom to explain that.
Yeah, we discovered when 36 Stony Hill is the farms, the development that's going in, that they're building in the front. They were gonna tie into their lateral and they were gonna put a manhole in to make the bend. And they discovered that there was an existing service connected to it. So it went to if you're familiar with the property where the hot dog palace is.
Right.
When you're out on the street looking at the hot dog palace, the one room efficiency on the left-hand side.
Right.
They tied into that lateral.
Right.
Now, it's weird with the property line because they're not perpendicular to the road. In that corner, it cuts at an angle. So where the lateral is right out in front of where the one room efficiency is, but it's on the property of 36. So when they discovered all of that, we went out there, talked to both property owners. I generated the letter that basically we didn't have a permit for that building. So I wrote my letter with basically, we've got to get it properly permitted. And we want to inspect the other houses on that property, see what's going on. So the two property owners are working together. The contractor's gonna basically redo that guy's service. They're gonna tie it into the manhole that 36 is putting in. So that will solve that end of it. I did get a application for a sewer permit and a fee from the property owner at 44 for the one room efficiency. And then we went out and wanted to see the other three buildings on the property, which is the hot dog palace, the residential structure, and then the multifamily residential. And they're all metered, they are metered. Two buildings are metered off of 1 meter. And there are two existing accounts, so we knew something was not right. So the three buildings are tied together with the two accounts. All three buildings are metered. So with them working together, they're holding off until we had this discussion, but it looks like we've solved the issue, at least of getting him properly.
So you got two different owners,
You got two different owners.
and one owner owns two buildings and one owner owns one.
No. The one owner is 44, which has 4 buildings on it.
Oh, okay.
And then the one owner is the multifamily construction project that's going on.
Oh, the multi.
Right. So the commercial building from the development, they're going to use the lateral and they're putting in a manhole to make the bend with their lateral. And they're going to tie only the one room efficiency into that manhole. So then everything will go into the sewer line.
Oh, yeah, didn't they tie one in? Oh, didn't they run a new lateral off the other road?
They did. The residential stuff comes in off of.
That's Ocho Auto?
I don't think, no, I think they came out for the front building. I think where they were doing that manhole, basically, when they were digging to do that.
The $10,000.
I think did they get it?
Yeah.
Okay. The residential stuff was already done. They came out onto McNeil for that one.
So it's being taken care of. They're gonna install the water meter and
Yes.
we got the money for the permit.
Yep. Okay.
And they're correcting the back pitch flow.
Yeah, he's gonna run a new lateral in for him properly.
All right, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of October 13th. That's in your package.
Motion.
Second for discussion. Any additions, deletions, changes? All in favor? Aye. Passes. Financial report, Brad. Hi,
So the first thing you'll notice is the water department's in a deficit position, has to do with timing. They'll do another billing and then it'll go back into a surplus position. Sewer is still in a surplus position. Couple things I'm going to point out this month. The sewer account for maintenance is over budget already. But of the, I think it's like 53,000 that is in expenses. 37,000 was related to Payne Road, which I know Tom's talked a lot about in his director report. But I did pull that obviously that account looks bad right now, the maintenance account, but with the 37 of it, at least 37 of it being Payne Road, that's why. You know, if we didn't have that in there, we'd be right where we're supposed to be. The other piece is clean loans, the clean water loans. We're in the process of closing out. Clean water principal and interest this year, $470,000. The actual this year will be 463.
Brad, I don't know if you can hear us. You're cutting, you're freezing.
You froze right from the beginning, almost when you started talking about this.
hey, Brad.
Come on down. You froze?
Technology is terrific.
It's frozen.
He is frozen. He's gone. Right.
I don't know if you're gonna try to get back in or if you
Probably,
Yeah, you probably lock him back.
should just come down.
I think he's not, he was doing like here. But you might call him and then.
Is he upstairs or?
I
No,
think he's.
Oh,
home.
he's not, okay.
no,
I think he's home, yeah.
Well, we'll give him a minute, see if he calls in. Otherwise, you can move on to invoices and we'll get back to it.
yeah, we can move on to it. Financial invoices. We have some invoices. in The amount of $38,337.27. I'll make a motion to pay. Yeah,
That's unbelievable.
Pete second that.
Thank you.
Are there any questions about the invoices?
Can I ask a question to Tom?
Yes.
Yes,
I'm looking at the application and certification for payment for, was it Guerrera? And I
Yeah.
know what seems to be that what you're gonna pay is the, I want to say the reserve, it's not the reserve.
retainage, Marty.
Retainage, yes. You're paying the retainage, but it shows that that the total owe is still $65,429.49. If we less the retainage, we still owe another 30,000?
No. That's just work that was not done, Marty.
That's what I wanted to know. That's
Yeah,
what
right. Like
Okay.
rock excavation, extra excavation. If the quantities didn't quite match up with what was estimated, you usually have some items that are over, some items that are under. So the net is an under, basically.
So when this retainage is paid, Guerrera's done.
That is correct.
All right, so we actually are under budget by about 30,000. Right?
Well,
I'm just looking at the number here.
no, I think it's the 65,000 that we're gonna be
All
under.
right. Okay, that's even better. All right.
And most of the water main jobs, Marty, that since I've been here, or probably even before me, they tend to all be under because we estimate extra items in there in case, like rock is one example.
Right. Okay, thank you very much.
Well, now I have a question.
Yes.
It says balance to finish at 65,000.
That's why I was thrown off, Rich.
If you look at the work to date, There's the 698, 765.
Yeah,
That's what he's actually done to
Okay.
complete the job. The 65, if you add those two together, that gets you to the total of the job. Of all the way to the left, the scheduled value of 764.
right.
So in other words, the contract was for 764. For him to complete the job, it only took him up to 698. So that's just the balance. He's not going to finish that. There's nothing more to finish.
All right, so the 34,938 is the retainage.
It's the 5% of the 698, basically,
Okay,
or what we paid him, basically.
yeah, no, well, to me, it was confusing because it says balance to finish.
Yeah, it's. And if you look at that balance to finish column, like, look at the first line item, okay? It was for 28,000 was the scheduled value.
Yeah,
He put in for 20,440, so there's a balance of 7560. That item's done. And if you go down that whole column, there's a series of pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
That's how they all are.
So this just completely puts an end to the project.
Correct,
Terribly.
correct.
Right, any other discussion on the invoices?
Hmm.
All in favor?
all right.
Aye.
Sorry, I got cut out. My
Okay.
greatest controller report ever, and it cut out in the middle. I didn't know if you had any other questions.
You want to start over, Brad, please?
The
Sure.
clean water with the clean water loans, I think.
All right, so that's where we cut off. So the clean water, we're finalizing the generator and the various water mains that were done out front of School Street and other places. And that, because of the timing of that, we had budgeted 470,000. We finalized those a little later than we thought we might. So the actual is going to run at 463. So we'll come under budget by $7,000 in those accounts this year. And it all has to do with the timing of when we finalize the loans. And that was pretty much the end of my report.
Any other questions for Brad?
Brad,
Can I ask another question? Brad, I'm looking at and it's just, I read the forms and a lot of times they just, I mean, I'm not an accountant, but I'm looking at the Water Department revenue schedule.
Yeah.
And I see here that it says for water use, actual 22-23, it says 569.95.
Yeah.
Then you go down collected by the tax collector and it says current year 654,907.
So the difference between those two numbers, the actual is what is billed. So the way the accounting wise, we have to do it. When we book revenue, we book what we bill. And then I show the collection because that's the cash flow piece of it.
Okay, so it's not collected by the tax collector. Wait, the number that's collected by the tax collector is above that, the 569.95.
So the tax collector collected actual cash this year, $655,290 by the end of October. What she's billed out is the 580,230. So
Okay. All right, I got it.
Bob
you.
when Bob used to do it, he used to just put the collections in there, but then it wouldn't tie out to the Munis report. So then I started showing both just so we could look at how cash flow is versus what we're actually billing out.
Okay, so this is built. All right, I'll know that the next time. Thank you very much.
You know, you had a question?
Brad, when you talked about, we went over on one of the expenses, what line is that? I can't.
So it's in sewer on maintenance, page 9, I believe. So yeah, page 9. If you look at plant maintenance, the budget is 50,000. We spent 56,870. With
Okay.
with the 37, at least 37 that I could easily tell without pulling bills, that was for Payne Road.
Yeah, that's correct, Brad.
Yeah.
And we've got the two other pumps that we sent out to get repaired. That bill hasn't shown up.
Yeah.
We authorized like 12,000 at the last meeting. So that's gonna go into that account. So that account's gonna be well over budget.
But sewer line maintenance, which is budgeted for 40, is only at 6, so that's trailing. So
One washes the other a little bit.
That's
a little bit, and we'll see where it ends up, but it's hard. We don't want to budget for things like Payne Road happening, because if it doesn't, then we over budgeted. But I guess that's why we have a contingency account, is what I would say, for these kind of issues.
Well, we have the, what do you call it? The transfer out,
Yeah,
which is kind of we had a plus balance when we looked at the revenue and expenses of, I don't know what page that's on. 253,672 on page 8.
yep, the very bottom of page 8.
So that's like a plus balance. So if we go over on something, we've got that much leeway, really.
So. And in the legal section, there's a contingency of 20,000. So. But
Okay. Did we accept, did we need a vote to accept the,
Yeah, you should
Control.
do it, yeah.
I'll make a motion that we accept the controller's report as submitted.
Second.
Any other discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. No new business time,
No,
director's report.
okay, all right, you, I think, Marty, you asked me to give you an explanation. We had some discussion on the Wright Pierce bill, page 2 of the Wright
Oh,
Pierce
yeah.
bills.
Right,
If you have one of them handy, I can explain it real easily. It's, again, it's just their formatting. The numbers all worked out correct, so they didn't make a mistake in the numbers, but the way they portray the numbers, if you're not familiar with it, you didn't quite follow it. If you want to look at the current bill that we have, which was the Wright Pierce bill for 1,853.86.
you mean from the last meeting?
No, I'm looking at, well, again, everyone has the current bill. So I'm looking at that and then I will explain.
Well, what current bill? There wasn't anything in the invoices.
Yeah, there is.
No,
There's one
no,
right here.
There was none in the, there was none that I received, and it's only, the only 3 that are listed are Guerrera and mine.
Oh, that's because then we added right here. Remember you brought it in yesterday.
We added it after Kathy sent out the note. I didn't know if you then resent something.
It's in the package, but I did
Oh, we have copies. We have copies here, Marty.
not helping you.
Not helping you.
No, my only point is, these invoices shouldn't be that complicated where if you, I mean, I'm certainly not the smartest guy in the world, but at the same time, I'm not a moron either.
All right,
And I look at these invoices and it just doesn't make any sense.
all right. Now,
And my personal belief is they should be doing invoices for our convenience, for the town's convenience, not for theirs, not for their computer system, not for their systems at all. It should be for the benefit of the town, so the town can understand them. And they're not understandable. I mean, what do we have to do to try to get this so everybody just looks at it the first time around and says, oh yeah, I see what they did. I've got it now. It's not happening. That's my only comment. I mean, I know it's not going to change, but it's just the point that it doesn't make any sense where we got to look at it and say, geez, well, how did they arrive at this? I mean, and I don't think it's that complicated.
it's not. Are we all looking at page 2 of the current one?
Yes.
Listen, I don't want to waste any more time. I'll call you and discuss it with you.
Well, I was just going to explain to the commission, so
Okay.
unless you'd rather me not.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first line there is office assisting
Mhm.
on page 2. All right, and that totals $100.72. The next line is project manager. There was different people that worked on the job. So the next four lines are those different people. They have different rates. So where they draw the dotted line and then the totals is 1753.14.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's the total of the project manager employees. And then the total at the bottom says total personnel. That's 1853. That's your $100.72, which is the top line,
Mhm.
which is the summary for office assistant. Added to the 1753, which was the summary for the project managers. So it kind of lines up, but it's,
Yeah.
it could be a little bit easier.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
should be a
without,
separate
you know,
another column.
another dash line or
There
something.
could be a
like that.
dash line underneath 100,
Right.
I agree.
Yeah,
But the numbers all matched up, everything mathed out correctly, and now I see how they're doing it.
They send you a report of what they did for 8.5 hours?
No, I don't have anything more than this.
Why don't they break it out?
Why don't they tell you what they
I'm
did?
not being smart, but you
No.
find a job, are you standing there looking, or what are you doing?
Well, I know some, because we met with them and they had to prepare some stuff for that meeting. So they were looking at our, the mapping and the line of sight between the various sites, and they were looking for alternatives for the, communication lines. But I'll ask them, sure.
all right, moving
yeah, I think
forward, you want a brief description of what they're doing?
Sure.
Yeah, and literally with every bill, you want to know what the world you're paying.
I went to the site, I delivered coffee and left.
All right, so that was that item, and one other item, our dam inspections were completed. I'm waiting for the reports to get submitted to me, and then they get sent to DEP by the end of the year. The other dam reports that we have is our, it's called an emergency action plan. And that was a report done about 5 years ago. And it shows what the flooding impacts would be if the dam breached. And there were contact people and it had to get updated. Basically, Doug's name was in there and various people that are, no longer in the loop. So I updated that. That has to get sent to DEEP as well. So pretty straightforward. And that's it for director's report. Let me get to capital.
What progress have you made on preventive maintenance?
Nothing formal. I don't have anything formal for you.
Well, I think you're gonna have to have something for the budget,
Mhm,
some preventive maintenance. I mean, we can't have crisis management all the time.
mhm.
It's just like these pumps. You looked at variable speed pumps, right?
Mhm.
Are you gonna go with variable speed pumps?
At the smaller pump station, no. No, they're running off the
I
wet
mean, the
well.
bigger ones.
Yeah, Paul Street for sure.
Yeah.
And I think does Plum Trees have variable speed? I'm not sure. Most of those are a small wet well. and they're short off of it. So they're on.
Yeah, I'm sure Plum Trees.
All the water pumps are on variable speed.
Yeah, the big one should be.
Mhm.
I mean, figure out what it costs, because you
Yeah.
just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you replace them with variable speed.
Mhm.
It lasts a lot longer and they don't take a full load.
Sure.
That's slow.
I understand.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. Capital project summary.
Capital projects, okay, the 2021 water mains, we talked about the retainage, that was the last item. The Bergstrom well, the authorization to award the construction contract is with DPH. I should be getting that back from them pretty soon.
What was the date on that? December what? We had award that by?
The bid opening was, I think it was September 22nd. I think December 22nd is our date. The health department came out with their, they call it their intended use plan for all of the DWSRF projects. Bergstrom is in a category where we'll be eligible for a $1.5 million grant off of the total. And about a year ago, I got us approved for an EPA grant of about 1.6 million. So those two grants will total about 3.1 off the top. The EPA, they just gave me their guidance documents on the hoops I need to jump through to basically apply for that. So there's a lot of stuff involved. So I'll be working on that over the next couple of months.
Is the 2% loan, is that locked in?
Yeah, their program is a 2% 20-year loan. We did get Board of Finance approval on Tuesday. We have the special town meeting is set for next Thursday. And it looks like the referendum now has been revised to December 1st.
Correct.
And Kath, did you include the pack this?
Yep.
Okay, so in the packet, I put together just like a public information sheet.
I saw that.
All right. I mean, that was my plan to get out or try to get out to customers on our webpage, maybe on the Facebook page, for the special town meeting, whoever's gonna come and be interested. We can also get this out to the newspaper in advance, see if we can get a story run. That might give us a little bit of publicity. Okay, that was Bergstrom.
Okay, one quick question.
Yes.
It says, how is it being paid for?
Right.
It says the water account users of the Bethel PUC. Is that the correct term?
Marty, I think that's kind of the wording we do in those referendum languages. It's the appropriated sum shall be paid for by the water account users of the Bethel Public Utilities Commission.
Correct. It's been used on 6 or 7 other meetings, other hearing meetings, special meetings and referendums that we've used before.
Right.
And to be honest with you, the reason why I want that on there is because the average person out there who doesn't have water coming from the municipality is liable to vote no.
Correct.
We don't want that.
Well, yeah, I just, because it said commission, it kind of threw me off. I expected to say water users of the Bethel water system or whatever. But if this is what you've been using all along.
Yeah, that's been the legal language we've been using, so.
Tom, can you repeat? You said you're applying for one grant through the Department of Health, but that you already applied for another one and received a grant for this building?
There was something that came out, I don't remember the date, it might have been June of 21. It was called congressionally directed spending. The feds came out with, they call them earmarks, or they call them whatever other word they call them. The feds were throwing money out there, so we applied. I applied for like, I think 8 or 10 different potential projects. And I got accepted the Bergstrom project and the SCADA project, which happen to be the 2 projects that are already in the DWSRF program. So Marty, we didn't get any money from them. Our projects got included. Our projects are approved. Okay. I think in March is when they finalized that. Now I'm going to be working through all the paperwork that they're going to want, an application, a financial, an environmental. They want a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to apply for a grant. And basically, it's going to work.
We don't have the grant. It's just we got put in another group where they're going to accept more information.
Yeah, and they don't,
Okay.
they basically, they reimburse you is what they end up doing. So it's kind of like DWSRF. Once it's all been accepted and our application is approved, as I get a contractor bill, I'm gonna submit that to them. My understanding, I'm just brand new now at looking at this, but I think I'll submit the bill to them. They'll look at it and then they'll reimburse us. So like with the DWSRF, or unlike the DWSRF, whatever that dollar number is that I send to the state health department, they earmark X amount is a loan and X amount is a subsidy. So at the end of the project, our loan is the loan amount and the subsidy is money we got from them that we don't have to pay back through the loan. On the EPA grant, I believe then all of their money will all be grant money that's up to that 1.6 million. And then I'm done submitting to them anymore. They're not going to accept anymore.
Okay. All right. I understand. Thank you.
So it's kind of brand new. I've never done this before. I'm kind of just jumping in now and I have an EPA contact person that I'll be dealing with to kind of help get us there.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Next project, the Wall Street boiler. The contractor started yesterday. So the boiler is on site, working it through. And I asked him for, when do you think you're gonna be done? He's shooting for before Thanksgiving. So hopefully with no snags there, we should be good. The next project, our sewer system rehab. We're gonna meet with Weston Sampson next week, and we'll just get the final plans and specs and be in a position to go out to bid with those for a winter contract. That's the line that's gonna get
What's the state?
off Worcester Street, right? Gonna have to be kind of a winter project.
Yeah.
So that the contractor has access through that, that soft ground. So that should be ready pretty soon to go out to bid. And lastly, we met with Wright Pierce on the SCADA project. We're re-looking at communication paths, because the Blue Sky Tower up on the top of Spring Hill has got a couple of issues with it. Tom says it's real expensive to get onto that. B, they added all the emergency management stuff recently, and it's about up to its limit for equipment. And the other thing is the frequencies that are being used look like they'll be potentially interfering with the frequencies we'd be using for SCADA. So we're looking to use some of our other sites as a repeater site to get the information, from point A to point B. That's it.
They give you a cost on that?
Well, we're already in the middle of the contract. with
I
them.
know we are.
Yeah. No extra at this
Yeah.
point. We're still under, we're at 42% of the job, so
I know.
hopefully we'll be in under, but.
It don't sound good.
Is that planning or is that actual construction of the project?
Oh, it's design right now. A lot of it is,
Just the design.
looking at the maps and figuring out the paths we're gonna take. And then he's got two guys in the field for a day, so that's kind of the extra.
Have you heard anything from Danbury on what we're gonna own? No,
They've been
and
silent.
did you say they have another year of work over there?
From what I remember, the phosphorus piece had to be done by April, and I think that's in service. And I think, I'm not positive, I thought the remainder of the construction was gonna take a year. So we're already now into that year, so I'm assuming spring of
Spring.
23. But Kelly was over there, he was helping them out with interviewing, and I think he reported that David said, oh yeah, I gotta get together with you guys, so. But that's kind of how they've been at this point.
Okay.
That's it.
It's moving.
Yeah, do you have anything from Kelly?
Yeah, Kelly did give me, he couldn't make it this afternoon. He gave me a couple of sewer and a couple of water items. Sewer, Hall Street, he had the seals installed, 3 seals on the Hall Street pumps. We got the 2 pumps at Bethel Meadows replaced. The original pumps were 2008. On the Payne Road, we got all the pumps. We sent 2 out for repairs, so we'll have the lag pump and now we'll have a spare, but there's a contactor back ordered, so we're waiting on that. And we did our quarterly, speaking of preventative, we did our quarterly pump out of Berkshire, Stony 1 and Stony 2 wet wells to get the rags out of there so that they're not jamming up the pumps. On the water side, Fleetwood, Tinker is to be back on Monday. I think to date, he's done 6 services. And I think he did some exploratory on 2 of the longer services that are gonna cross. And so hopefully he's there to stay, but.
Yeah, he needs to stay.
Yeah. And that's all Kelly had.
Bethel Meadows, the pumps you had to replace them.
Yeah, I
Was
think,
that anticipated?
yes, yep.
But it wasn't in the budget, was it?
Like I
It's a
said,
maintenance, no,
it's a maintenance item,
yeah, it's something that we have to really look at. I mean, it's just. Because every time it's extra money that we're pulling out of the budget to cover it, that's, I
right,
think it's something we really have to look at.
correct.
You know, we're not here nailing it to the cross, but on the other hand.
Yeah.
Preventive maintenance, you're gonna cut down a lot of the stuff.
And well, that's one reason why they're pumping up these wet wells more often.
And yeah, you gotta do
To
that.
get rid of
Sure.
the river. So, you'd said that you replaced both pump step metals.
Correct.
So pump them out.
Yeah. Pembroke, yes.
So when it was it done quarterly or what?
Yeah, we're doing it about quarterly, correct.
What's your cost if each time we do it?
We just did them, so I don't have that bill. I'm trying to think of what
Yeah,
I think for a day. It might be $1,500.
Or something like that, it's another budget, another.
Oh, yeah, I had that figured in.
Oh, that's gotta be.
Yeah.
All right.
anything else to come before the commission this evening?
One quick question, Tom.
Yeah.
On the new equipment that we're gonna be installing for the wells. Who writes the operating instructions? Do we write them or are those done by White Bear?
We're gonna get an operating manual from Wright Pierce.
So right here.
Yeah, they'll give us a whole book on all the equipment.
Actual instructions or just,
All operating and PM and, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but yes, that's
but
part of it.
the package.
That's part of what we just, that amendment number 4 that we just approved. That includes all of that on the construction administration piece.
Okay, good.
Yep.
You were,
Yeah.
you were talking about Berkshire pump station too, that's gotta be updated.
Berkshire, I'll talk with the guys and see. I don't think we've been having any issues over there, but
It's got a big flow over there.
Berkshire? No, it's,
Well, you just fixed
we fixed the meter,
the
basically.
I know you
meter,
did,
I
yeah.
pulled the meter out. I called the company. You could ship it to them and the cost of shipping it to them then, or for them to look at it. Gets rolled into
Yeah.
the repair. I think it was like $700.
No, that's.
And they revamped it. We put it back in and the flows now are between like 40 and 50,000 gallons a day.
Oh, that's, okay, yeah, because you were getting some wacky readings.
We were getting totally wacky.
I
readings.
mean, yeah, like, you couldn't believe it, yeah, all right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's been back on track. We installed it, I think, August 1st. I didn't look at October's numbers, but August and September's
And
numbers.
how's the generator over there?
Well, we had that issue in the summertime.
We have to think about getting something?
No,
I think that's a fairly new.
I think it's a fairly new. I think it had that problem with the water pump, I think. And then it came off of there and the shaft came right off of it. So that got replaced like within, 3 or 4 days, they were able to get the parts and do it. Yep.
Any other questions? Motion adjourned.
So move.
Marty, hang on for a second.